Hi, this is Mark from LongIslandWatch.com, and today I'm finally reviewing the Orient Triton dive watch. This is a dive watch that came out a few months ago, and you've been asking for it day after day, and they're coming, and finally got them in the store. I've got all three. We'll review them. Just quickly, this is the kind of replacement for the Orient M-Force. The M-Force line has disappeared, and the Triton is the replacement for those watches. I'm sure there will be other watches of the same, kind of professional saturation diver caliber coming, but this is, right now, this is the first set, and I really don't think they are going to disappoint. So let's hop on over and check them out. So here we go. I've got the three new Triton divers in front of you. We've got a black, a blue, and kind of a two-tone, not a two-tone bracelet, but a two-tone case. These are all going to be under the new part numbering system. If you remember from some of the other new Orient new releases, they start with an RA, dash, and then an EL, a whole bunch of digits. This is taking the place of the M-Force watches. A lot of the serious dive watches fell under the M-Force moniker with the old Orients, the Beast, the ones with the crown at the left, the 4. So those have all gone away. In addition, the saturation diver has gone away. That was the $2,000 retail watch. Kind of similar to this one, but that one's gone as well. So this is really the replacement for the M-Force as far as we know it today. So like I said, there's three of them. I will do the blue in detail and then show you the other two a little less in detail. So let's get started. So this is the Triton dive watch. The one we're looking at first is the RAEL 00002L00A. Like I've said before, horrendous part numbers. Blue dial, blue bezel. As usual, all the watches are going to be the same. They're going to show you, except for the differences in dial bezel and hand colors. So what do we got here? Well, inside the watch is the Orient 40N5A movement, which is actually one of their highest grade movements. And that is the same movement that was in the saturation diver, that $2,000 dive watch. So you are getting an excellent, excellent movement. Case size is around 43.5 millimeters. It's 13.5 thick, and that tip to tip from here to here is 51 millimeters. So now we're in the same ballpark as, say, an SKX, and I've got an SKX that I'll pull up as we get a little further into it, just to show you a size comparison. It is a 22 millimeter lug. It is a solid endlink bracelet, as well as solid link bracelet. As you can see, it's a screw down, solid screw down case back, just like you expect a dive watch to be. Anti-reflective sapphire crystal, so it's scratch resistant, and it's got anti-reflective coating to help with the light hitting the crystal, which obviously you really can't see it here because it's not really glaring. What else we got here? It is, so obviously, again, 200 meters water resistant, and it says divers 200 meters. So what does that mean? If you recall, that means it's really an actual scuba watch. It's not certified to the ISO standard because it's a Japanese watch. It's certified to the Japanese industrial standard for a class 1 dive watch. So again, a real deal dive watch. 120 click unidirectional bezel. I know I don't have feel-o-vision, but this is simply amazing. A lot of times you guys see me try to turn bezels with my gloves and they slip. The bezel is cut really well, and it's not too much resistance, but it's not too little resistance. It is simply amazing. Now, you've heard me mention in the past new releases, and it says it on the case back, it says Epson somewhere on there. There it is right there by my thumb. So yes, Epson has a controlling share of Orient. Yes, Epson's owned by Seiko. No, Seiko doesn't make Orient. But what I have been told by Orient management is that Epson is a real stickler for quality control. I picked 3 out at random. Guys, look at the bezel alignment. Look at the chapter ring alignment. It is near perfect. And if it's not perfect, it's just because of the way I'm holding the watch. It's a parallax effect. It has a screw down crown, so you unscrew the crown. Very smooth, works great, and then you wind it by turning it. And you see the power reserve needle is starting to go up It's got a full 40 hours of power reserve, so it hand winds. It could also wind by moving it. It's an automatic. It hacks, so you pull out the crown to set the time, and the second hand stops. To set the date, you pull the crown out one click and spin it, and there goes the date. Push down and spin it till it locks, and you are back to 200 meters water resistance. So some of the design cues. The markers are reminiscent of the ray, the round dots. It's got polished chrome, if you will, around the markers, so they really stand out nicely. Obviously, you can probably see the lume is tremendous, and we'll do the lume shot in a minute. The hands are brushed steel, and which is kind of like the same hands that were on that saturation diver. Let's maybe we'll pull in on the dial now and take a better look at it. So there's that nice dial. You can see the depth of the dial. Look at the chapter ring. The finishing around the indices, the hands, everything on this thing is darn near perfect. Look at the integration of the endlink into the case, the Orient logo. I'll flip it over while we're doing this so we can really see the back. We have a nice engraved Orient logo and some of the other writing, Air Divers 200, the Epson model number, serial number, all that good stuff. Nice bracelet. The clasp, we'll zoom out a bit for the clasp. So it's obviously a signed clasp. Flip it up, 2 buttons, get off the plastic, micro adjustment, but then, of course, because it's a diver's watch, there is a diver's extension right there. Tucks away like that. Very easy to use. Very easy to close. So the watch comes in at right around 212 grams. Not something I usually state in videos, but people tend to ask when it gets up to a caliber like this, so I'll make that mentioned. And the retail price is $655. They're around $400, when all is said and done after discounts and the whole wonderful online world of pricing. So this is the blue dial. I will bring up for comparison. First, I'll bring up its second cousin, the ray. So the ray is around 4 millimeters smaller tip to tip. The ray is in my right hand, don't lose sight of it. And the crystal is about 1 millimeter smaller. But overall, I think the Triton is a more substantial diver, if not being a much larger dial. The dial differences might be a millimeter or maybe 2 millimeters, probably less than that. But you can really see definitely a heavier diver, but not necessarily a bigger diver, if that makes a lot of sense. Like I said, I'm looking at dial area. So then let's bring up its related distant cousin, the 007. So here's a Seiko 007, and now you can see that these are about the same size watch. In fact, the 007 just a couple millimeters smaller on the tip to tip, but crystal size is exactly the same. So again, we're looking at the same thing. It's just a more substantial dive watch. If you looking at these two side by side, you would definitely say this one's more substantial. Obviously, it's far more expensive. It's about twice the price. But there's a lot more going into this one. It's got a totally superlative movement to almost anything else out there. Truly, super high quality. It's going to be tough to beat. Let's do the Lume, and then I'll pull up the other two variants. As if there was any question. I mean, look at that. Check it out. Look how bright that is. And again, look at my glove. You can still see my glove plainly. But look how nice the Lume is. And there's no doubt that this will be easy to read throughout the entire evening. It's super bright. Here's my usual look at that. It's lighting up my glove. And like I said, you can tell when the lights are on that the Lume paint is applied super thick. So they got Lume on the bezel. They have Lume on the second hand. And they even have Lume on the power reserve hand. Nice. Super cool touch. So coming in at the same price, we've got its brother, the black one, which is your traditional black diver. Another matte dial, black insert, black dial. Everything else about the watch is the same. The price, the size, the movement, the bracelet. There is absolutely nothing different here. I'll just kind of hold it up for a minute or so, give you a couple different angles so you can see what the black looks like. But what can I say? It's black. And black In most watches, black tends to be the most popular color. It's basic, but for some reason in Orients, the blues usually shine through and beat the black. But anyway, so there is the black model if you want more of a traditional plain diver. And then something that I thought was a little gutsy, if you will, more of a two-tone-ish. So this is a little bit more expensive. I don't know, about 40 bucks or so more. So what did they do here? Well, they've added gold hands. They've swapped out the silver hands for these brushed gold hands. And they've also adorned the bezel in gold. So a regular black, same black insert, but now a gold bezel. They kept the silver crown, but you actually get the gold color bouncing off of it, which kind of looks pretty cool. But I thought this was a little bold, if you will. I probably would have dug a center link gold bracelet. I think that probably would have been a nice touch, but maybe the platings weren't up to par, and maybe that would just scratch too easily. But still, you can't deny it. It's a pretty nice looking watch. I don't think it will be anywhere near as popular as the other ones. Oh, I'm sorry, I should do part numbers, right? So this one is the 3B. And then the blue one was the 2L, and then the black one, excuse me, is the 1B. That's this one here. So that's all three of them. I will put the blue one on my wrist, and you guys can check it out on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. So here it is on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. This time I'm going to wear it above the bone for you guys because it is probably a tad bit large for me. If I wore it down here, it looks a little big. But again, I think I would wear it. I really don't care. I think it's a beautiful watch. It looks fantastic. It fits great. It feels good on the wrist. And honestly, I think it's just, there's so many dive watches out there. It's still basically the #1 men's watch is a dive watch. That's what they ask for. It's, obviously Rolex made it popular, but a lot of them tend to be cookie cutter at times, and Orient, I feel, doesn't subscribe to the cookie cutter. This is different. I mean, it's got cues from the Ray, it's got cues from the Saturation Diver, power reserve needle, just lots of cool stuff. I think they really knocked this one out of the park, and I think they priced it extremely well. So this has been Mark from LongIslandWatch.com showing you the new Orient Triton Dive Watch. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below, and I'll be sure to address them as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.